Dear viewers, India's highly respected historian and author Ramachandra Guha has made it clear to all and sundry that India has repeatedly let down the Kashmiri people. Guha also sheds the light on how India mainstream media has let down the Kashmiris. According to him, harassment and persecution of innocent Kashmiri people is happening only because they are Muslims. Let's listen to him.
What kind of debased, degraded behavior is this? And especially when none of this harassment, persecution of innocent Kashmiris only because they are Muslim is at all called to account. The Prime Minister is silent, the Home Minister is silent, the BJP President is silent, every BJP cabinet member is silent.
Guha explained how Indian industrialists let down the Kashmiris after the abrogation of Article 370. Let's listen to him again.
But the truth, Ram Guha, is that it's not just governments that have made promises to the Kashmiri people which have then been reneged upon. In your Telegraph article, you point out that on August the 12th, 2019, that's also almost 6 years ago, Mukesh Ambani promised to set up a special task force to make a series of investments in Jammu and Kashmir. That hasn't happened. In fact, nothing has been heard about it since that promise was made in 2019. Was it a blatant false promise?
Of course. But you see, if you look at the optics, he is India's most prominent and successful industrialist. He is making a promise that, Kashmir, Article 370 has gone, and the government says we will now make Kashmir fully part of India. And I will show my goodwill towards the government's good intentions and the Kashmiri people by investing thousands of crores and constituting a special task force. Now, nothing has gone. And of course, I think I'm one of the few voices who's writing about this. I mean, the Economic Times and the Business Standard and the Financial Express and should be asking Mr. Ambani this question. What happened to this? Well, of course, they won't because they're totally complicit and compromised. So this shows that it was obviously it was a promise made to still the waters, to calm the discontent, to say no, actually this is for your economic.
Guha also sheds the light on how India mainstream media has let down the Kashmiris.
Absolutely, of course, they're letting down Indian democracy and India as well, in a broader sense. If a media promotes falsehoods, suppresses the truth, is too scared to report the facts on the ground, which is one side of it. So those are sins of omission. And then there's sins of commission. There's like the falsehoods they promote, including most reprehensibly during the recent war with Pakistan, when a very respected cleric in Punch was killed by Pakistani shelling, and our TV media in Delhi claimed he was a jihadi terrorist with absolutely no evidence. To the contrary, he was a respected local, citizen, and there was no apology. There was no chastising by the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, and the government apparently was willing to let all these pernicious hate instilling falsehoods spread. But I'd say one last thing. So at the same time, Karan, there are some media outlets, usually but not always, based outside Delhi. So I'd single out, in terms of newspapers, the Deccan Herald and the Telegraph. The Deccan Herald in my hometown, Bengaluru, and the Telegraph in Kolkata, which whose local correspondents carry good reports, fair-minded, well-researched, fact-based reports on Kashmir. And then, of course, the digital media websites like Scroll and The Wire, likewise. So, but those are, of course, not, those are all English language. I'm not.
Guha also points out that even the ordinary Indian have not been fair to
Kashmiris, you're right. The Aam Admi of Peninsular India have, in deplorably large numbers, displayed their hostility towards the people of Kashmir. You refer to the way Kashmiri students were abused and fled their colleges after the Pahalgam terror attack. You refer to the lack of gratitude to Kashmiris who displayed exemplary bravery and decency to tourists in Kashmir at that time. You talk about the demonization of Kashmiris in social media and the fact that many Hindus portray Kashmiris as disloyal and unreliable simply because they are Muslim.
Absolutely. And this has gone on for a very long time. and particularly after 2019, after the abrogation of Article 370, you will recall the kind of stuff that Hindutva, so-called influencers portrayed. They would buy land in Kashmir, they will have attractive, awful stuff, Kashmiri women will be, their playthings and that kind of, it's a vile, debased kind of stuff, which was ubiquitous, including, by relatively influential right-wing posters on social media. And after every cricket match between India and Pakistan, Kashmiri students are attacked somewhere in India. That whatever happens, and especially if India loses. And you take it out on ordinary Kashmiris who are not just students. In Mussoorie, a town both of you and I know well, the shawl wearers were made to go overnight. They were just made to go. People peacefully plying their trade, making an honest living, supplying something of beauty and quality and worth to Indians who are not Kashmiris. And the Indians who are not Kashmiris respond to the Kashmiris who are Indians by telling them, get lost, go home. I mean, what kind of behavior is this? What kind of debased, degraded behavior is this? And especially when none of this harassment, persecution of innocent Kashmiris only because they are Muslim is at all called to account. The Prime Minister is silent. The Home Minister is silent. The BJP President is silent. Every BJP cabinet member is silent. I mean, what the hell is? Have you lost your humanity totally that you behave like this?
He answers the question why there is a lack of trust and fraternity between the Kashmiris and the Indians.
At this point, Ram Guha, why is there this lack of trust and fraternity between Kashmiris and the rest of the country? Is it because it's India's only Muslim majority state and this leads to communal and majoritarian responses from Hindus? Is that what underlies it?
It's much more it's more complicated. That's a large part. It's largely that. But, actually, Karan, we should exult in the fact and glory in the fact that we had, till August 2019, a Muslim majority state. And, hopefully we will soon have that again. Because we have several Christian majority states in the Northeast, a Sikh majority state, in the Punjab, Muslim majority districts in Kerala, a Muslim majority state, even some Buddhist majority parts as in Arunachal Pradesh, and that is our strength and our diversity. And we've lived in a very comfortable way with this from 1947 till 2019. And now to say, and I think this is behind denying them that union statehood, because you don't want to say, just like Hindus, just like Sikhs, just like Christians, Muslims can also have their own state, because having statehood gives them certain protections. If you see how Delhi, being a union territory, is essentially ruled by the central government, and it has the absolute, the elected assembly of Delhi, unless it's of the same party as the party ruling at the center, has no rights, no responsibilities. Sheila Dikshit, I beg your pardon, a large part of what she could do was because the Congress was in power when she was chief minister. And, unless you have a BJP chief minister in Delhi, nothing can be done. So we don't want to give them that status. But this is what made us special and strong.
Is statehood being denied to Kashmiris because they are majority Muslims and because it's a message that resonates with Modi government's Hindutva support base?
After all, there are gruesome acts of terror in Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, Orissa, but no one would even dream of being their statehood. And yet, in a flash of a moment, we did precisely that in Jammu and Kashmir. Is it because they're Muslim?
That's what it appears. But I said, I am a biographer of Mahatma Gandhi, so I believe that even evil people have some good in them. They can be redeemed. It's on their own. I'm quite clear that Narendra Modi and Amit Shah will not grant statehood to the Jammu and Kashmir because the BJP lost the last state elections because the population is still majority Muslim. But it could be that there are other people in the cabinet who are sensible of what is right, what is just, what will redeem India in international opinion. All of this shames us in the court of world opinion too. So I would still hope, maybe carry some element of hope, maybe against experience, to quote, Samuel Johnson. It may be a triumph of hope over experience to expect that after all of this state would be granted, but it was still, it should be done. Whether it would be done, I cannot answer. I'm not privy to the inner workings of this government, but it should be done for political and moral reasons. And finally, Karan, even if it is not done, my article in the Telegraph and my conversation with you is addressed not merely to the government, but to our fellow citizens, so that they at least find a way of treating Kashmiris with honor, with respect, with dignity, with equality, and with justice.
There is a thin sliver of hope, but it reminds me of Nadezhda Mandelstam's biography of her husband, the poet Oshap Mandelstam. She called it Hope
Against Hope. Absolutely, hope against hope. That's it.
And truly, there was very little hope there.
Ini Zainab Safras Ahmad, Karachi, Pakistan. Ana Zainab Safras Ahmad, Karachi, Pakistan.